I need to borrow your car right quick.
What kind of shit is that? Most people want to borrow sugar, or even ketchup. You want to borrow my car? Hell no!
When people think of Friday, they picture Ice Cube and Chris Tucker joking on a front porch, sharing hilarious lines that became part of pop culture. But behind that laughter was a story full of risk, conflict, and unexpected change. Ice Cube, known for his hard-hitting rap and serious image, shocked everyone when he decided to make a comedy movie. At that time, Hollywood mostly showed black communities in a dark light, full of crime, pain, and violence. Ice Cube wanted to change that. He wanted people to see the fun, humor, and love that existed in his neighborhood too. Making Friday wasn't just about getting laughs. It was about showing real life in South Central Los Angeles, the good and the bad, in a way no one had ever seen before. What looked like a simple comedy turned out to be one of the most meaningful and risky moves of Ice Cube's career. In the early 1990s, Ice Cube was known as one of hip-hop's most powerful voices. He had just left NWA, released solo albums like AmeriKKKA's Most Wanted and Death Certificate, and built a reputation for being fearless and politically outspoken. So when fans heard that he wanted to make a funny movie, many didn't understand it. Critics wondered if he was selling out or turning soft. Even some people close to him didn't believe the idea would work. But Ice Cube saw something others didn't. He believed comedy could show the same truth his music did, just from another angle. Life in South Central wasn't always dark and hopeless. It was also full of humor and resilience. Ice Cube teamed up with his friend DJ Pooh to write a story inspired by the real people and funny moments from their own lives. They wanted to make something authentic, not a big studio comedy, but a small movie that felt real, with honest characters and everyday problems. Getting Friday made wasn't easy. Ice Cube and DJ Pooh didn't have a huge budget, and studios weren't lining up to invest in a comedy about two guys hanging out in the neighborhood. So they looked to independent success stories for inspiration. Robert Townsend had used credit cards to make Hollywood shuffle, and Kevin Smith had filmed Clerks on a shoestring budget. Ice Cube and Pooh thought they could do the same. Their plan was simple: one neighborhood, one day, and a few key characters. Almost every part of the script came from something that actually happened. Craig getting fired for stealing boxes, that was based on Ice Cube's cousin. Smokey's wild personality? Inspired by DJ Pooh's real-life friend who used to sell weed but was too busy smoking it. Even Debo, the neighborhood bully, was based on someone they knew. The story was funny but real, a slice of life in South Central. When they finally got New Line Cinema to back them, they were relieved. But there was one big condition. DJ Pooh couldn't play Smokey. The studio wanted a more experienced, recognizable actor. Someone who could carry the comedy. Replacing DJ Pooh turned out to be a blessing in disguise. Ice Cube wanted someone who could bring natural humor and energy to the role. Several famous comedians were considered, including Chris Rock and Tommy Davidson. But Ice Cube kept thinking about a young comedian he'd seen on Def Comedy Jam, Chris Tucker. Tucker had a loud, funny, and real style that matched Smokey perfectly. But his first audition was terrible. He was tired, unprepared, and nervous. The casting team wasn't impressed, and Ice Cube started to wonder if he had made a mistake. Luckily, director F. Gary Gray saw something special in Tucker and pushed for him to get another chance. Actress Angela Means, who played Felicia, also helped him rehearse. The second audition went much better, and Tucker nailed it. His fast-talking, funny personality turned Smokey into one of the most iconic movie characters of the 1990s. Once filming began, Tucker's energy was unstoppable. Many of the funniest scenes were not even in the script. He made them up on the spot. His chemistry with Ice Cube made Friday unforgettable. Even though Friday feels like a lighthearted movie, its production was full of pressure. The entire film was made in just 20 days with a budget of under $3 million. There wasn't time or money for mistakes. Everyone had to stay focused. Even during scenes that showed constant weed smoking, Ice Cube stayed sober to manage production. The cast worked hard and had fun at the same time. Many actors who appeared in Friday later became huge names, like Michael Clark Duncan, who had a small background role before starring in The Green Mile, and a young Meagan Good, who played one of the neighborhood kids. But beyond the laughs, Friday captured something special, a sense of community that felt real. It showed friendship, family, and everyday life in a way that audiences connected with instantly. The movie became a huge success, earning more than $27 million worldwide. It wasn't just a comedy. It was a cultural statement, a reminder that people in the hood had stories worth telling, full of humor and heart. When Next Friday came out in 2000, fans immediately noticed something missing: Smokey. Chris Tucker's absence shocked everyone, and rumors spread quickly. Ice Cube later revealed that Tucker turned down a massive paycheck, around $10 to $12 million to return. According to Cube, Tucker had become deeply religious and didn't feel comfortable playing a character who smoked weed and got high all day. Tucker confirmed this years later, saying he didn't want to send the wrong message to kids or keep doing sequels. He preferred new challenges. Actor John Witherspoon, who played Craig's dad, said Tucker's church mentors also advised him not to return. At the same time, Tucker had just landed Rush Hour, which paid him $20 million per film and made him a global star. Financially and spiritually, walking away from Friday made sense. But for fans, Smokey's exit left a hole in the heart of the series. While religion and money were part of Tucker's decision, there was more to the story. Some cast members, like Faison Love, who played Big Worm, later hinted that tension had grown between Ice Cube and Tucker. The issue wasn't just about pay, it was about credit. Ice Cube had written and produced Friday, building it from the ground up. But Tucker's performance was so memorable that fans started crediting him for much of the movie's success. Cube reportedly felt overshadowed, while Tucker's team believed his improvisation made the film what it was. This quiet struggle over recognition caused cracks in their friendship. In Next Friday, Cube even included a line that seemed to take a shot at people trying to take credit for the original. Both men had valid points. Cube's vision created the project, but Tucker's energy brought it to life. Unfortunately, that creative tension became another reason why the two never reunited for a sequel. After Friday became a hit, New Line Cinema saw dollar signs. They wanted sequels that could make easy money. But Ice Cube wanted something more meaningful. He didn't want to turn Friday into just another Hollywood franchise with bigger budgets and empty laughs. He wanted to keep it authentic. The same low-budget neighborhood feel that made the first one real. This put him at odds with the studio. While Next Friday and Friday After Next both did well, Cube wasn't fully happy with the direction. He dreamed of one final chapter called Last Friday, a true ending that would bring everyone home and pay tribute to the late John Witherspoon, who passed away in 2019. But year after year, studio disagreements stopped the project from moving forward. Cube refused to compromise his vision just to get the movie made. The studio wanted a big, commercial film. Cube wanted something small, funny, and heartfelt. That creative battle froze the franchise for more than 2 decades. What makes Friday's story so powerful isn't just the laughs, it's what it cost to make them. Ice Cube's refusal to sell out shows the same toughness that made him famous in music. He could have made quick money by letting the studio take control, but he chose to protect the heart of the story. It's rare in Hollywood for artists to put authenticity above profit. But for Cube, Friday wasn't just a movie. It was a part of who he was. The story of 2 friends trying to get through a regular day in South Central spoke to millions because it felt real. It was more than entertainment. It was representation. Sadly, that same determination to keep things real made it harder to bring everyone back together. Tucker moved on, Witherspoon passed away, and DJ Pooh went on to other projects. What remains is a film that still connects generations, even 30 years later, because it came from the heart. Looking back, Friday is more than a comedy. It's a cultural landmark. It broke stereotypes, opened doors for new black filmmakers, and gave audiences a fresh way to see community life. The chemistry between Ice Cube and Chris Tucker, the humor rooted in real experiences, and the honest look at neighborhood life made it timeless. Every generation rediscovers it, quoting lines like, "Bye, Felicia," or "You got knocked the out," without even knowing where they came from. And yet few realize the personal sacrifices and creative struggles behind those laughs. Ice Cube fought to make something real, and in doing so, he created a story that's still loved decades later. The conflicts, losses, and choices that came after only add to its legacy. Maybe that's why Friday remains special. It wasn't made for fame, it was made from truth. As the 1990s ended, Chris Tucker's life took an unexpected turn. After the massive success of Friday, many fans assumed he would instantly return for the sequel. However, Tucker had undergone a deep personal and spiritual change. He had become more serious about his Christian faith and started questioning the kind of roles he wanted to play. Smokey, though loved by millions, was a character centered around drug use, profanity, and street humor. For Tucker, continuing that role meant going against his beliefs. He chose instead to step away from the franchise and focus on projects that aligned with his new values. This decision surprised fans and even disappointed some of the cast and crew. But for Tucker, it was a moment of self-respect. While some people believed Tucker's refusal to join Next Friday was about money, the truth was deeper. He had already started building a reputation in Hollywood through other successful films like Money Talks and Jackie Brown. But it was Rush Hour that truly changed everything. Acting alongside Jackie Chan, Tucker found the perfect balance of humor, action, and family-friendly storytelling. The film became a global hit, turning him into one of the highest-paid comedians in the world. Still, despite his fame, people continued to associate him with Smokey, showing just how iconic his first major role was. It proved that Friday wasn't just a movie. It was a cultural landmark that had created unforgettable characters. For Ice Cube, Friday was never just a film. It was his message to the world. He wanted to show that the black community had more stories to tell than violence and tragedy. His goal was to highlight the humor, hope, and humanity that existed in everyday neighborhoods. That message made Friday stand out from other films of the era that focused only on gang life. However, maintaining that authenticity came with challenges. When studios pushed for a more commercial tone or tried to replace cast members, Cube resisted. He believed that once a story loses its realness, it loses its power. This strong creative control made him both respected and, at times, misunderstood by Hollywood executives. Ice Cube also faced personal pressure as he moved from being a rapper to a filmmaker. Many doubted his ability to create a movie that wasn't centered around aggression or rebellion. But Friday proved them wrong. It showed that Cube could mix humor, culture, and emotion in a way that felt natural and relatable. Over the years, this film's success encouraged him to continue producing and writing, leading to other hit projects like Barbershop, Ride Along, and Are We There Yet? Each of these movies, in its own way, carried a small piece of Friday's heart. The idea that laughter can come from real life, not just fantasy. While Ice Cube and Chris Tucker took most of the spotlight, Friday would not have been the same without its incredible supporting cast. John Witherspoon, who played Craig's father, brought warmth and wisdom to the movie. His classic line about how to fight like a man became a cultural quote still repeated today. Then there was Nia Long as Debbie, who balanced strength with charm, representing a grounded character among all the chaos. Tiny Zeus Lister Jr., who played Debo, turned a small neighborhood bully into one of cinema's most memorable villains. Even minor roles like Izal, played by Anthony Johnson, and Big Worm, Faison Love, added layers of comedy and personality that made the neighborhood feel alive. Each actor brought a piece of authenticity from their own experiences. Most of them weren't big stars yet, and that worked perfectly. Their performances felt natural, not like Hollywood acting. When the film finally released, viewers saw themselves, their families, neighbors, and daily struggles reflected on screen. That relatability was what made Friday timeless. It was not about fancy sets or expensive effects. It was about people, laughter, and the idea that even in tough times, joy can still be found sitting on a porch on a lazy afternoon. After Friday, not everyone's life followed the same path. For some, it opened doors. For others, it was the peak of their careers. Ice Cube became a powerful figure in both music and film, creating his own production company and mentoring new talent. Chris Tucker reached international fame, but also faced struggles managing fame and faith. John Witherspoon continued acting, becoming a beloved figure in comedy until his passing in 2019. Faison Love went on to appear in big comedies but often spoke publicly about how Friday had changed his life. Sadly, some members of the cast, like Tiny Lister Jr. and Anthony Johnson, passed away, leaving behind legacies tied forever to the film that made them household names. Hollywood can be both generous and cruel. Success doesn't always bring happiness or stability. Some actors found it hard to escape their Friday characters because audiences only wanted to see them in similar roles. That's the double-edged sword of fame. Being remembered for greatness can also mean being trapped by it. Yet, even decades later, every reunion, interview, or anniversary of Friday reminds fans how special that movie was. It wasn't just entertainment. It was history, culture, and community captured in a single day's story. For years, fans have